Resolution of Constitution of India or Constitutional Development of India. Mode of promulgation, which means how a constitution came into being.
The East India Company expanded its political influence and acquired revenue-generating territories due to economic motives, evolving into a quasi-empire. Recognizing this, the British government intervened, bringing the company under parliamentary control to ensure its alignment with state interests.
Company Rule, 1773 to 1858. Crown's Rule, 1858 to 1947. Regulating Act of 1773. Jurisdiction Act 1781. Pitt's India Act of 1784. Act of 1786. Charter Act of 1813. Charter Act of 1833. Charter Act of 1853. The Government India Act of 1858. Indian Council Act of 1861. Indian Council Act of 1892. Indian Council Act of 1909. Government of India Act of 1919. Government of India Act of 1935. Government of India Act of 1947. Lord North was the Prime Minister of Great Britain 1770 to 1782, who presented the famous bill on March 18, 1773, which later came to be known as Regulating Act. Regulating Act of 1773. Factors leading to the Act or need for the Act.
Clive's establishment of dual government in Bengal caused administrative chaos and a breakdown of law and order. The East India Company's influence led to socio-political corruption in Britain, involving the purchase of seats in the British Parliament. The huge wealth brought home by the company's officials stirred jealousy among Englishmen in Britain. Continuous wars and expansionist efforts pushed the EIC to the edge of bankruptcy, resulting in a financial crisis.
Significance of the Act.
It was the first step taken by British government to control and regulate the affairs of the EIC in India.
It recognized the political and administrative functions of the company. It laid the foundations of central administration in India. Provisions or features of the Act. Provisions related to companies' government in Britain.
Companies' government in Britain consist of two institutions, Court of Proprietors, (COP), and Court of Directors, (COD). The COD consists of 24 members elected by shareholders, (COP), serving as the company's executive in Britain. The Act raised the qualifications for both. The Act marked the first instance of direct parliamentary control over the Court of Directors, mandating the submission of all revenue-related correspondence to the Treasury and civil-military administration matters to the Secretary of State.
Provisions related to companies' government in India. Subordinated Bombay and Madras presidencies under the Calcutta/Bengal Presidency. Designated Governor of Bengal as the Governor-General of Fort William/Bengal with a 5-year term. Formed the Governor-General in Council, an Executive Council of 4 members, with Warren Hastings as the first Governor-General alongside Councillors Philip Francis, Clavering, Monson, and Barwell. Decision-making in the Council required a majority vote, with the Governor-General holding the casting vote in case of a tie. Granted the Governor-General supreme authority over other presidencies and governors in matters of peace and war. Establish an independent Supreme Court in Calcutta with 1 Chief Justice and 3 judges. Eliza MP was the first Chief Justice. Ensured liberal salaries and prohibited immoral activities such as private trade, receiving or giving bribes, and money lending. Amending Act or Act of Settlement of 1781. Need for the Act.
Addressed the shortcomings of the Regulating Act of 1773.
Provisions or features of the Act.
Granted immunity to the Governor-General Council and EIC servants from Supreme Court jurisdiction for official acts. Excluded revenue matters from Supreme Court jurisdiction. Supreme Court had jurisdiction over all Calcutta inhabitants and natives to be tried according to Hindu and Muslim laws. Appeals from provincial courts went to the Governor-General in Council, not the Supreme Court. Empowered the Governor-General in Council to frame regulations for provincial courts and councils. Upon assuming the position of Prime Minister, William Pitt, 1783–1801, introduced the India Act, subsequently referred to as Pitt's India Act.
Pitt's India Act of 1784. Need for the Act.
To remove the weakness of Regulating Act and bring companies' administration in India under the supreme control of British Parliament.
Significance of the Act.
Introduced a system of double government. Designated EIC's territories in India as British possessions in India. First time acknowledged. It gave British government supreme control over companies' affairs and its administration. Distinguished between the commercial and political functions of the EIC.
Provisions or features of the Act.
It established of the Board of Control with 6 members appointed by the Crown, working alongside the Court of Directors. Court of Directors focuses on commercial functions, representing the East India Company, EIC. Board of Control handles political affairs, representing the British Crown. Distinguished between the commercial and political functions of the EIC. Reduced the members in the Governor-General's Council from 4 to 3. Authorized Court of Directors to handle all recruitments in India. Supreme Court restricted to British subjects. Governor-General of Bengal cannot declare war without Parliament's permission.